always makes me laugh. All right. Good morning. Good morning, Zoomers. All right. Thanks all for being here. Okay. So we can begin. We can take our thumbs and tuck them into our fingers and allow our hands to rest on our thighs, and we can bring our awareness to the three treasures: the Jing, the Qi, and the Shen, the body, the breath, and the mind. And just spending a few moments with each one of these, as we typically do. And in this class, we usually begin with the body, the Jing, the earth, the substance, the stuff. So just feeling the sensation of your alignment within gravity, feeling the ground beneath you, feeling the weight of your bones, the heaviness. Jing is yin. So even feeling that settling quality of yin. Just noticing the physical sensations, areas of comfort and ease, areas of discomfort, just allowing it all to be there, allowing it all to bring you into now. And as you're tuning into your sensations, you can expand awareness to include your breath within the body, the second treasure, the Qi. And just feeling the movement of the breath as it moves into and through the body, allowing that movement to reveal more of yourself to yourself. Noticing where there is movement, where there might be a lack of movement, or a lack of something. And just noticing, not needing to change anything about our bodies or our breath or our sensations. Just beginning by noticing how it is. And as we notice how it is, we may notice how it is constantly changing as well. How it is constantly changing. And then again, expanding awareness to include the mind and the focus of the mind, what the mind is interested in, or noticing what we're noticing. And the invitation is to direct the noticing of the mind, the interest of the mind, to our breath and our body. But as the Jing is yin, the Shen is yang. Very active, very expansive, very quick. So just noticing that even. Noticing how we can direct the focus of the mind to the breath and the body, and it may be there, and it may move somewhere else and somewhere else. It may be focused on multiple things simultaneously. And so again, in the beginning, it's not about changing anything. It's just about noticing how it is, noticing what happens when we notice. And just returning to that again and again. Noticing the sensations in the body. Noticing the movement of the breath as you breathe into and through your body. Noticing the noticing of the body and the breath. Noticing if we are noticing something else. And as you're ready, we can bring our hands together and gently rub our palms together, still maintaining an awareness of our alignment, breathing deep into the body, gathering our attention and our intention. And right now the intention is to rub the palms together, to generate some heat in the hands. Heat is energy. Energy is a translation of Qi. Let's take a nice deep breath in together. Exhale, shake it out. And then rubbing the palms together again. Breathing. Paying attention. And then we can bring our hands to our faces and we can give ourselves a face massage. You can massage up and out if you'd like. If up and out doesn't feel good or doesn't feel right and you want to do it a different way, please do that. And go at whatever speed you'd like to go. You can try different speeds, fast or slow or medium or alternating between any of those. Just try things. Notice what things feel like. Notice what you like in this moment. And when you're ready, let's take a nice deep breath in together. Again, shake it out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. Let's take our fingertips and we can massage our scalps, and you can go front to back or back and forth or any other kind of way. Again, just things. See what feels good and then do what feels good to you. And make sure to cover the whole surface area of your scalp. Give any areas that are asking for extra attention, give them that extra attention. Notice how it feels to do this. Notice the response of your body and your breath and your mind to doing this. And as you're ready, your hands can slide down the back of your neck and around. And then a nice deep breath in again. Shake it out. Rub the palms together. Breathe. Feel the breath moving through your body. Notice where it moves, where it doesn't move. Notice how you feel. And then let's take our hands and we'll cup them over our eyes. Just gentle pressure to the eye sockets. The eyelids can be opened or closed. Just rest and maybe even look into this darkness. Just see what's there. Seeing the little, sometimes looks like the, blurry screen on a TV. Little, impulses, just like little bits of light in this darkness. What does it look like? What do you see? And again, as you're ready, deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. Just resetting, recharging, replenishing. And then we'll stimulate the acupoint, yin tong, in between the eyebrows. We'll take the base of the left hand in between the eyebrows and just gently draw your hand across the forehead, the eyebrow off to the side, and then we'll do the same thing with the right hand, the right wrist in between the eyes, and just gently drawing the hand across. Yin tong, the chamber of the seal, sometimes translated as the hall of the seal. The seal, like the stamp, the red stamp of authenticity. And it's interesting to think about those translations, like the chamber of authenticity or the hall of authenticity. Like those feel different to me. Like a chamber might be a place like where you're, like a safe or something, or like just a room you're sitting in. And a hallway. To me, it just kind of implies like movement, where things are coming and going through. So thinking of this point as a place where the authentic self, this stamp, this seal of authenticity, where it moves, where it gets transformed transferred or transmitted from one place to another? Where is it going? Where is it coming from? How does it move through this hallway? This authenticity. Doing one more pass on each side and just taking your time to just feel this place in your body or within yourself. How does it feel? And then when you finish with whichever hand you're using, let's take a deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing deeply. And then we'll take the edge of our thumbs on either side of our nose, and we can massage up to the bridge of the nose and the inner corners of the eyes, and then down to the edge of the nose. And you can move between these 2 points. The lower point off the edge of the nostril, that's the maxillary sinus. It's also an acupoint. The name is welcoming fragrance. Smelling. Not just breathing through the nose, but smelling. And then the upper point in the inner corner of the eyes and the eyebrows, that's the frontal sinus. That's another acupoint. The name is bright eyes. Ming Men or Jing Men. Seeing, smelling. And then a deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. Then we'll take the tips of our thumbs on either side of our mouth, one hand below, one hand above, and gently draw back and forth. Massage your lips, massage your gums, generate saliva, helping to stimulate the stomach meridian, the liver meridian, the Chong Mai, the Yin Wei Mai, helping to bridge the conception vessel with the governing vessel, the Ren Mai and the Du Mai, the microcosmic orbit. A lot going on in this area. So take the time to feel what it feels like to do this. Generating saliva, how does that feel? Allowing the saliva to build up in your mouth and then swallowing it down, and how does that feel? And a deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. And then we can take our hands and make forward circles over our ears. And you can also bring your hands back behind your ears and then gently fold your ears over. And you can do that as many times as you'd like. And then a deep breath in, shaking it out, rubbing the palms together. So there's over 500 different nerve endings on our ears. The ears are actually used, there's a form of acupuncture that uses ear points exclusively, and it's actually used to treat PTSD. The US military uses this protocol. And there are other organizations that go to places where there have been some kind of natural disaster or unnatural disaster and provide ear acupuncture for people. The nice thing about ear acupuncture is you don't need needles. You can just grab your ears and massage them, with your thumbs and your index fingers or index and middle fingers. You can massage the outsides, the insides, the front and the back. You can take a fingertip, kind of work your way. This upper triangle of the ear, this is the area that has most of the points that are really utilized for calming down the nervous system, for taking us out of shock. So working in that area, if you find that area feels a little tender, a little achy, hang out there. Just keep massaging it. Of course, you don't need to make it uncomfortable to where it hurts, but be with it. If it's just a little uncomfortable, that's okay. And then you can also, from that triangle, there's a little ridge that you can go right underneath. So you're under this ridge on the ear, almost pressing up into a little cave. And that's a point very specific to the kidneys, to the adrenals, that organ network in our body that's very responsible for fight or flight or freeze. And then you can just work your way down along the inside of that ridge so that you come about halfway down. You're in the midpoint of the ear. And in this area, this is an area very related to the digestive system, the liver and the stomach. So these organs that are responsible for processing and digesting and metabolizing the things we eat, also the toxins that are circulating through our body, also the hormones that need to be metabolized and categorized and cataloged and eliminated sometimes, and then moving down there into this flat spot that's just in front of the ear canal. This is the area of the ear that corresponds to the chest, the heart and the lungs. And yes, the physical organs of the heart and the lungs, and also the lyrical aspects of these organs, the poetic parts, when we think about being, heartache, heaviness in our chest, grief and longing, all of these things. And then we can take the earlobe itself, and the earlobe is very much related to the head, to the brain. So massaging that. And then again, maybe doing a couple circles over the whole ear. And then a deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together. And so just wanting to take some time to just show a little bit about the ear. There's way more going on the ear, but those are some big spots. Helpful to know about. Helpful to have resources to help us deal with reality. Because it's intense currently. So rather than dealing with post-traumatic stress, maybe we can transform that into post-traumatic growth, post-traumatic awareness, post-traumatic clear seeing, and helpful, compassionate actions, as opposed to angry, mad, resentful actions. Let's do our self-shoulder massage, beginning with the left arm to the right shoulder, and it can just fall away, and alternating side to side, taking your time, letting gravity do most of the work. Just a little initiation with the body, and then the arm can swing and land. A little intention in your hand as it swings and lands can help. And no need to do anything too hard. A phrase that I heard recently that I really like as it pertains to, really to life in general, but also to these practices, these cultivation practices that we do, is being precise without aggression. It's not an aggressive thing, giving ourselves a self-massage or massaging our shoulders. We're not being aggressive with ourselves or our movements or our intentions, but there is a precision, a focus, a clear intention, and that intention does include care. So being not necessarily, full of care is being kind of careful, but not hesitant, precise, and not aggressive, not rough. Do this for a long time. Let's do one more on each side. And a deep breath in, shake it out. Rub the palms together and breathe. And let's do our gorilla pat for our chest today. So we can just soft fists or even beak fingers on the upper chest, and you can work underneath the collarbone if you need to kind of go across your chest with one hand to get to the opposite side, to get out by the shoulder under the collarbone. That's fine. And you can change sides. And then we can bring both hands to either side of the sternum. And I prefer beak fingers as we're working along the sternum, just off the edge of the sternum, not on the center of the sternum, but working in between the rib spaces. Because there tends to be a lot of tenderness in these spaces. There tends to be a lot of held tension in these areas, and these beak fingers just allow us to get a little more specific, to feel into what's there. So feel into it. It may be tender. And so you can be gentle. No need to go beyond what your capacity is. But feel what's there. If it feels tender, just be with that. Breathe into that. Notice how it feels. Notice what comes up. Notice the response of your system to being with what things feel like. And just remain. You can work down to the lower ribs, bottom of the sternum, maybe even off that edge, the bottom edge of the sternum or those lower ribs. And that can also feel tender. Working along the bottom edge of the ribs. close to the sternum or just off of the sternum can be particularly tender in that area where the esophagus is moving down through the diaphragm. And then we can work our way back up. And then maybe transitioning from beak fingers to a soft fist to like a gorilla pat. Breathing deeply. Feel free to audibly exhale as you need. Feel free to make sound if that's what helps. And working back down to the lower edge of the ribs, maybe working along that lower edge, maybe transitioning from soft fists to open palms, maybe over time, as feels appropriate, transitioning from patting to then just massaging, rubbing. Continuing to breathe, the hands can start to move on to the abdomen. One hand can come up over the heart and the other hand can be over the belly. You can move slowly, you can move quickly. Just notice how you're moving and how it feels, and if that's what feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, change it. Find what feels good. Feel free to change which hand is on top. Feel free to use both hands over the chest or over the solar plexus or over the belly. Just take a moment to acknowledge the organs in your abdomen, acknowledging the liver and the pancreas and the stomach and the spleen and the large and small intestines and the gallbladder and the urinary bladder and the reproductive organs, or where reproductive organs used to be. And whenever you're ready, your hands can move around your waist to your lower back, the area of the kidneys, the lumbar spine, the lower ribs, the sacroiliac joint. And then when you're ready, you can draw your hands out, shake them out, rub the palms together and breathe. Notice the alignment of your body. Feel the movement of your breath into and through your body. Notice your mind and what your mind is interested in. And then let's massage our arms. So beginning with the left arm, a little tap to the fingertips, and then we can run up the outside and down the inside. Going with the flow of the meridians in the body. Going at whatever speed feels appropriate to you, using however much or however little pressure you would like. And then up one more time and down. Changing sides, tapping the fingertips, up the outside, down the inside. And again, feel, sense. And it's interesting, thinking about sensing. Is any sense ever operating exclusively by itself? Or are all the senses always working in concert? Like, yeah, we're touching our arm, we can feel that, but there's also sounds. Even if our eyes are closed, there's light and dark. There's smells. There's even tastes of the inside of our mouths. Like, all of that is happening, contributing to this experience. What is it like to have that experience? To have this experience? And then we can come up one more time and down. Deep breath in and out. We're almost there. This is a long one this morning. So we can bring our feet out in front of us, and we can massage the bottom of our feet with our thumbs. We can work in between the long bones on the top of our feet with our fingers. You can also take the edge of your foot that's facing up towards you, and you can massage that. You can pinch and squeeze and milk your toes. Like, get into it. Do what you're doing wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly massage your feet. What does it feel like? Find what feels good. If it doesn't feel good, you can alter how you're doing it. If you can't reach your feet, you can massage somewhere else on your legs, your ankles, your shins, your calves, your knees, your thighs, even your hips. And then as you're ready, if you're massaging the bottom of your feet, you can follow the funnel down on the bottom of your foot to the deepest hollow, which is usually near the base of the ball of the first and second toes. You can just apply gentle pressure there. If you're massaging up higher, you can maybe find the spot behind the knee. And then from here, we'll draw our hands up the inside of the legs and the thighs and around the hips and down the outside. Going with the flow of the meridians in the body, up the inside of the legs, around and down the outside. And again, feel what your legs like. Maybe they like light pressure. Maybe they like heavy pressure. Maybe they like quick movement. Maybe they like slower movement. Try it out. What they like may change. That's okay. It's okay to change. It's going to happen anyways. And we can come up one more time and around and down and out the feet. Big breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together one more time for now. And then we can tuck our thumbs back into our fingers, hands rest on the thighs, and again, bringing attention to the three treasures, noticing your body, the alignment of your body, the sensations that you feel. Breathing deep into the body, feeling the movement of the breath. allowing that to be the focus of the mind. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right, great. Any questions about anything? Any of that or anything else? Okay, so yeah, just wanted to spend a little extra time with the self-massage, just because it's a great resource for ourselves, something we can do for ourselves. Just like, really all the things we do in this class are things we can do for ourselves whenever. But, the self-massage, we sometimes, I think it can be easy to forget about. And how therapeutic just rubbing the hands together and taking a deep breath and shaking it out, or massaging your face or scrubbing your scalp, just that, to just kind of clear out our portals, our sensory orifices. It's like we are bombarded by so much all the time, not only just in our daily lives, but then in our virtual lives, I think even more so. And with so much that's going on, it's so easy to just get so bogged down and so overloaded that then these orifices cease to function. They're not even able to sense things in a clear way because there's so much that has built up. And so if we can just take a few moments to just allow them to just kind of have a break and to clear out and to refresh and to renew, and then we can re-enter a situation and maybe with a fresh perspective, maybe something that has a little more space around it. So just to utilize, again, these tools, these resources, natural resources, renewable, inexhaustible resources. Yeah. We can focus on those. All right. So let's just keep practicing then. I think what I'd like to do is do a little bit of warm-up, but then also revisiting our Tai Chi as Qigong. Just kind of working on some of those movements, because I think they're great. And again, even if we're doing just the first movement continually, it's like, it never ends. It's not like we need to learn more. We can just get better at what we do, or we can deepen into what it is. It's like I've heard it said, and maybe I've said this here before, I'm not sure, but it's like, we often don't talk about how we get better at taking showers, right? That's not something we often say. Like, I shower, several times a week, sometimes several times a day, depending on the day. Like, I'm really good at it. That's not something that we say. It's just something that we do, right? We just take showers, and we kind of, it's like we just deepen into that practice. It kind of becomes something, who we are, how we are. So, approaching these practices like that. Just like showering. It's good to shower every once in a while. You don't want to go too long without a shower. You don't want to go too long without one of these practices. All right? So, we can stand up. Sure you can see my hands. All right. Great. So, just finding ourselves in this new shape, this new position, standing. So if you want, you can soften your gaze, or you can close your eyes if that helps. And just again, returning to the three treasures. Like, that's the essence of the practice, is attuning to the body and the alignment of the body, the physical sensations, the substance, feeling what's there. And then breathing into the substance, breathing into this present moment, being with what is, and allowing the breath to even deepen our beingness with what is. And then noticing the mind and how the mind behaves as we be with what is, as we're being with what is. And then let's just do some warm-ups. So a couple rounds of amplify and discharge. Very easy. Just take a nice deep breath in and draw everything in. And you can maybe make fists with your hands and your feet and your face. And you can tighten up. And then exhale and relax. And we'll just move like that for a little bit. In your own way. Holding at the top of the inhale, though, and then releasing. Letting the discharge be a little more active. One more. And then just start to bounce a little. Just jiggle. Doesn't have to be too much, but you can bounce your shoulders up and down. You can bend your knees a little bit deeper up and down if that's helpful. You can bend your elbows a little bit more. And yeah, if you want to turn side to side, you can do that. But just loosening up. And as you do this, relax. I was just noticing in myself, I'm shaking, but I'm tense as I'm shaking. Just relax. Easy. This is formless Qigong, so you cannot do it wrong. So just do it, don't worry about it. Just shaking things out a little bit. And then let's do a couple gathering breaths into a sigh of relief. So we'll do a big breath in, gather. Audible exhale. Let's do that for a little bit. Let it fall away. Two more. Let me hear you. And then just returning to standing. And then lift your toes off the ground so that you can feel the hard parts at the bottom of your feet. And notice where you are in your feet. If you're really in the balls of your feet, soften your knees and sink back into your heels. And if as you sink into your heels, if you feel a little unsteady, like you're going to fall back, spread the floor apart. Find the outer edges of your feet. So it's really the heels and this outer edge, like the back 2/3 of the outside edge of the foot. And the big toe mound isn't really rooted in the ground. It's there, it's available to help us move and to help us balance. But that's not really where most of the weight is distributed. It's more on the outer edge, more in the heel bones, soft knees, just letting the weight sink and settle. So starting from there, we've got our nice yin foundation, and so then the yang can start to lift. And so legs are solid and strong, just tuning into the hips, breathing deep into the belly. And then with the mind's eye, just traveling up the spine into the rib cage and come into the back lower rib cage with your mind, with your awareness, with your breath. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Really fill the sides and the back, almost like you're reaching for what's behind you with your ribs as you inhale. It's like you're creating a turtle shell with your breath. And it may help to think about the back of your head also moving back and slightly up. So we're reaching back and slightly up through the back of our head. The chin will naturally tuck a little. We'll get some length in the back of our neck, and then we can really breathe into the back side of the rib cage. Again, create that turtle shell. And just exhale as long and slow as you need to. You can take your palms and turn them forward so that the shoulders open, the collarbones spread, and we're not sticking our chest out or lifting our chin. We're just opening the shoulder joint, external rotation of the shoulders. The shoulder blades don't move towards each other. They're still nice and wide. We're still reaching up and back through the back of the head. We still have soft knees. We're still sinking through our heels and spreading the floor apart and breathing behind the heart into the back side of the rib cage. Getting full, getting wide with our breath. And then from here, inhale and just let the hands float up, about shoulder level. Turn the palms down, exhale, let the hands move down. When your hands reach to your hips, let them chop your hips back. So bending at the hips, not the spine. And then inhale. Exhale. Spine stays tall, reaching through the back of the head. The hips chop back. And then inhale. Exhale. Like snow melting into water. Like water evaporating into steam. Inhaling, exhaling. Again, inhale. This time as the hands come down, just let them float straight down in front of you so we're not chopping the hips. And then we're gathering our hands out and up as we inhale. We'll bring the mirror foot closer in. And then exhale. So moving into opening and closing. Sink the knees. Shift the weight and open out towards the mirrors as you inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Window foot steps in. And then exhale. So taking your time. Harmonizing the breath and the movement. Sink, weight shift, stepping out as the hands reach out, shifting the weight to center and then settling down through the center. Knees bend, knees move away from each other. Weight shift, inhale out and up. That foot starts to move in, and as the hands come down, the foot comes down. Sinking, open, exhale. Weight shift, gather, and relax. And again, weight shift, open, stepping out, shifting to center and settle. Yeah, so we're moving slowly, because that helps us to really just track all that we're doing, taking our time. And as you step in and out, it doesn't have to be too far. Stepping out far is a little bit of a challenge. You can go a very short step. As the hands sweep out, maybe just the mirror heel comes off the ground, the toes stay rooted, so that you can then keep the toe on the ground as you come closer and settle. Standing on one foot can be hard. And then we'll open back out towards the mirrors, as wide as you'd like, and sink. And gathering in. And opening back out. So again, like something like this, like we were talking about taking a shower, it's like, how do you get really good at this? Is this something you even get good at? Like, it's just something you do. So how can we deepen into this? I mean, what type of person would be like, yeah, I open and close really good? Better than that person. Like, who is that? Who wants to be that person? Can we just take the time to do this as we do it? And then maybe it occurs to us like, oh, that feels good, or that feels something, it feels like that natural just dignity of present awareness. We're not trying to prove anything to anyone. We're just really just being with what is, which is a nice feeling. Again, like a kind of just quiet dignity. An uprightness. Opening. Settling. Gathering. Closing. Harmonizing with your breath pattern, which may be slower or faster than my breath pattern. But exhaling before you inhale. Finishing one thing before you start the next thing. And then also knowing that all things are just one thing. So yes, we finish one thing before we start the next thing, but all of these things are just a continuous flow, a continuous happening. But how can we allow them to be a continuous happening in a way that honors each piece of this continuity? Maybe helps the continuity to be that much more whole, more integrated, more complete. Because every piece gets its due. So here, let's just let the hands float down, and then from here, leading with the elbows, we can let the hands float up and down. And leading with the elbows also means starting from the feet, up through the body, out through the arms. feeling this gentle undulation that happens all the way up and out, and then sinking, little hip hinge, pressing through the heels, up the backside of the body, out the underside of the arms. Just taking your time. Again, just thinking about this movement and how is it possible to be done learning this movement? How is it possible to ever get to a point where you're done? So just deepening in, becoming the movement. One more time, let's let the hands float up, and then we're going to take the window hand and bring it underneath, and we'll let our weight settle to this side a little bit more, and we've got a ball now in between our hands. Upper hands about the level of the heart, the chest. Lower hands about the level of the lower dantian. And we're relaxed. We're not rigid. You know, we are relaxed and collected. You know, not so relaxed that we can't be collected, not so collected that we can't be relaxed. And then from here, this bottom hand, it's like the torso is what is leading the movement. So the torso turns and the bottom hand comes out, not too far, not really very far at all. And then this upper hand can just drop down, facing the ground about hip level. Upper hand is now about the level of the heart, the chest, facing us. And just holding here. And again, we're not pitched forward, we're not reaching out, we're really stable in the center. And let's just bring this outer hand right back underneath. So sweep it back down, and we'll form the ball. And then, like you're gently tossing a frisbee, just to there. And then bring that hand back underneath. Form your ball. And from the torso turning, and the hand comes along for the ride, bringing it back. And just starting to find a little flow here. Nothing's too rigid. And this window side foot, you know, if you need, you can let that foot move. It can pivot in a little. It can pivot out a little. If that's going to happen for you, the recommendation is to lift up your toes so you can pivot on the heel. And just finding this gentle rotation. And again, yeah, just be easy with it. Like this hand, as we're tossing it out, it doesn't need to go forward at all. It just lifts a little. And then comes back. And it just lifts. Comes back. If you want to link the breath, let's inhale. Exhale. In. Out. In. And out. Let's pause here. And then we'll take this lower hand and just kind of open ourselves towards the mirrors, and then we can pick up the ball on the other side. So now we've got our mirror hand underneath. And again, this foot is where it is, but it can always just lift your toes and you have room to pivot as needed, if needed. And so again, we're relaxed, we're collected, we're not too tense, not too collected, not too relaxed. And this bottom hand can just float up, not out too far. And it's kind of facing us. This lower hand's about hip level. And just feeling this, and again, if you really pitch forward into that front leg, come back a little. And find an easy, collected, dignified way of being. And then bring this mirror hand back underneath. And then shifting from the torso and coming back. And again, really it's the torso. It's not the hand, it's the body is moving. And coming back. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. And as you exhale, this window hand that's dropping down, where is it at? What is it doing? Is it engaged? Is it out to lunch somewhere? So, this movement, traditionally called parting the horse's mane. Because again, as this lower hand sweeps up and the upper hand is coming down, it's like we're parting a mane in between our hands. Like we're following the angle of a horse's neck. Just gently stroking its mane in between our hands. And so this is a two-hand operation, not just one. We're not just thinking about this lower hand that's rising up and then the upper hand, as it falls, it just does whatever. That's not what's happening. It's both hands working together, staying connected and engaged. In and out. And then we'll pause. This lower hand can kind of open us back to center and then pick up the ball. And now we'll go side to side. So open. Rocking back. Lower hand is gathering us, picking up the ball. Other side. Rock back. And the lower hand gathers us up. And then part the horse's mane. Lower hand rocks us back, gathers us up. Weight shift. Rock back. Window hand picks up the ball. Open. Mirror hand picks up the ball. And then leads the movement. Window hand rocks us back and picks up the ball. Leads the movement. So often it's the lower hand that's driving the movement. Still the lower hand. Now we have a new lower hand, so it drives the movement. Lower hand brings us towards the windows. Now the new lower hand, the mirror hand, picks up the ball and throws it. New lower hand, the window hand, picks up the ball. Inhaling. Exhale. Long, slow inhalation. One more time. We'll pick up the ball. And now we'll transition. So we have the mirror hand on top, window hand underneath. We're going to turn the ball over. Now this lower hand is going to drop the ball. So it moves away, moves out to the side, and the upper hand falls down to about hip level. Now we have a new lower hand. The lower hands drive the movement, so let's turn this palm down. And with this lower hand, just sweep across. And that brings this upper hand in, and then we can press. Now the lower hand is going to pick up the ball, bring us back to center. And as it drops the ball, it brings our weight over with it. Following the momentum. Now we have a new lower hand to bring us across, which means the upper hand is going to come in, and then we press. And then the lower hand picks up the ball. The lower hand drops the ball, follow that momentum. And as if you had a string, like a string is between these two hands. So if I'm going to move this lower hand, and I have a string that's taut between my two hands, this hand, as it comes down and across, the upper hand is going to come in, because they're tied together, and then I can press with this upper hand. And then the lower hand picks up the ball, drop the ball, follow the momentum with your weight, and there's a string between your two hands, so the lower hand, as it moves, it's pulling that upper hand in at the elbow, and then press. And pick up the ball. And let it go. Lower hand pulls us across. And press. Lower hand picks up the ball. And then we drop it, and coming across. Picking up the ball. Follow the momentum. And then the lower hand leads. Lower hand picks up the ball. Follow the momentum of that lower hand as it sweeps out. New lower hand brings us across. Yeah. Picking up the ball. Follow the momentum. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. In, and a long, slow exhalation. In, out. One more time, we'll pick up the ball, drop the ball, follow the momentum, lower hand. Now from here, this lower hand is going to sweep up and we'll cross. Both palms facing towards us. The hand that's closer to us, the mirror hand, will come down, and then we'll send it right out to the side. And then, like a karate chop, we're going to chop forward, which allows this window hand to sweep out and chop forward. As you do, the shoulders rotate, the mirror hand can come down and out, and then forward. So following the momentum, the mirror hand can bring our weight to that side, and then we shift back to center. And then out towards the windows, back to center. Inhale, exhale. In and out. This time, window hand sweeps all the way around and we're crossing. Palms face us. Let's lift with the elbows and like we're parting clouds. Now let the window hand float down and come across all the way. And then it floats up as the mirror hand comes down and bring both hands across. So I like to think of this as drawing a square. So one side of the square, the top and the bottom of the square. The other side. And shift. And again, it's from the torso, right? The hands move up and down. My arms aren't moving at all. It's just my body turning. And then switch. And just my body turns. So this is a little more collected than relaxed. But just to feel that it's just the body. And so we're nice and collected, moving from the body. So if we can introduce a little relaxation, maybe the elbows can bend a little bit. Maybe there's just the beginning of the turn before my hands are all the way switched. So then this square, the corners of the square might start to become a little more round. And the palms are facing towards the body as we're doing this. The upper palm towards the body, the lower palm kind of like as if you're drawing it through water. Or, scooping ice cream. And as you move, you can also shift your weight towards the windows. And then lift up. And shift your weight towards the mirror. And lift up. And seeing if you can find a sense of flow or fluidness. Or again, a relaxed collectedness. A kind of dignity in the movement that comes from being in alignment. Taking the time to just pay attention to what you're doing. And then we'll switch, and the next time that your upper hand comes in front of your face, pause. Lower hand will sweep up to cross. And then we'll open our arms. Send your hips back, spine nice and tall, reaching back through the back of the head. Bend your knees, reach back through your hips. The weight is in your heels. You should be able to lift your toes, gather down, and then press through your heels to come up. And relax. Gather. And exhale. And then again, from the chest, we inhale, open. Exhale, gather from the earth, like you're picking up something heavy. So lift with your legs, not your back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Open in and out. In and out. And then we're going to inhale and close towards the mirrors. Exhale. Sink. We'll open towards the windows. Hands flow down. Flowing up. Mirror hand comes underneath. And we open. Lead with that left hand. Lower hand opens us and picks up the ball. To the other side, parting the horse's mane. Lower hand opens us, picks up the ball. Turn the ball over. Window hand is underneath. It's going to drop the ball. We'll follow that momentum out. Like a string is between our two hands, the lower hand comes across, and then we press. Lower hand picks up the ball, and then drops the ball. Follow the momentum towards the mirrors. Lower hand pulls the upper hand in and across. We press. Lower hand sweeps up. We're going to cross. The hand that's closest to us, the mirror hand, comes down and out, and we send it forward. And then the other side. One more time. Sweep it all the way around to cross in front. Lift with your elbows. Open, parting the clouds. This time the mirror hand comes down and across. As it floats up, the upper hand floats down, and we bring both hands across the front of the body. And then switch. And both hands come across. Switch. One more time. Switch. When the upper hand comes in front of the face, lower hand sweeps up. Now we'll open it wide. Gather from the earth like you're picking up something heavy. Press through your heels. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, gather from the sky. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, open. Gathering from the earth. In. Out. Inhale, gather from the sky. And close towards the windows. Sink. Open to the mirrors. Float up from the feet through the elbows. Window hand comes underneath. Weight shift. Lower hand initiates the movement like you're tossing a frisbee, not too far. Now the new lower hand is going to bring us back and pick up the ball. Now the lower hand tosses the frisbee. New lower hand brings us back, picks up the ball. Let's do one more. Lower hand, toss the frisbee. New lower hand brings us back. Pick up the ball. Switch, turn the ball over. Window hand is underneath. It's going to drop the ball. Now our new lower hand will pull the upper hand in and across, and we can press. Mirror hand picks up the ball. Lower hand drops the ball. Follow the momentum. Lower hand brings us across. One more time. Lower hand picks up the ball. Drops the ball, following the momentum. New lower hand brings us across. Lower hand sweeps up, crossing. Now it's the window hand that's closest to us, so it will come down and out to the side and send it forward. Mirror hand. Window hand. One more on each side. With the window hand, we'll sweep around. Cross. Lift with your elbows. Part the clouds. The window hand can float down and across. As it rises, the upper hand comes down, and both arms come across the body. Switch, and turn. Switch, and turn. switch. So it's like this upper hand, we're pulling, almost like the elbow. You know, as if we had to move something out of our way with our elbow. Opening a curtain, or, I don't know, doesn't like Dracula walk like this or something? With a cape? Maybe. Switching one more time. When the upper hand comes in front of the face, sweeping the arm up. And now we'll open. Inhale. Hips back, sink like you're picking up something heavy. Inhale up. And then let it go. Inhale, reach up into the sky. Exhale, down to the heart. Inhale, open. Exhale, hips back, pick up something heavy. Gather the earth. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. This time we'll inhale up, closing towards the mirrors. Exhale. Let your hands just rest by your sides. Just take a moment to just stand, maybe tuning in to the bottom of your feet, noticing, is your weight in one foot more than the other? Lifting up and back through the base of the skull, breathing behind the heart, in the backside of the rib cage. And just feeling the work that just happened, like physical work, mental work, and now we're resting. And then you can just relax your stance. You can step out of that nice and easy, shake it off a little, and then let's gently rub our palms together. Notice the sensation in your palms, how they feel compared to the first time that you rubbed them together. And then massaging the face up and down a couple times. And back and forth over the scalp a couple times. And then down the back of the neck and around, palms together, pressing the thumbs into the chest as we drag the hands down over the sternum, and then hands over the lower ribs, onto the belly, around the waist to the lower back, drawing the hands out, shake them out. Let's pat up one arm, and then down the inside, and then up the other arm, down the inside. And then let's go around the waist and down the back side of the legs, up the front. One more time, around and down, and back. All right. So that was the Tai Chi Easy as Qigong, the 5-movement Tai Chi form. Very simple. But also, like, you know, very deep also. You know, there's not a lot of movements. There's not even too much to each movement. But it can really, you know, it can really work us in a lot of good ways. And so just taking our time with that. And it was, you know, today was, I feel like, a pretty slow, easy class. But I know for me personally, I was hoping for slow and easy because it's been very intense and complex in the world. And so just again, just resourcing ourselves. You know, we talked about February 17th is the start of the fire horse, which is a fire animal. So a fire, fire, fire. So like hydration is good, water to help balance. So the internal aspect of hydration, the non-material aspect of hydration is meditation, is contemplation, is inwardness, inward moving, slowness, stillness, nourishing movements that are fluid and soft and gentle. And this is something we can cultivate for ourselves, resource within ourselves, because we're all going to need it. It's not going to get any less complex or intense, I don't think. Even in good ways, the good will also be more intense and complex. But, just to build our capacity for that. So that's what we were doing today. I hope that came through. And then, and also just a quick announcement, I will not be in town next week, so we won't be meeting for class next week. But then in 2 weeks, I will be here. So you're welcome to join me if you'd like. Okay. Yeah, so thank you. Thanks for practicing. Thanks for being here. And I hope you have a great couple of weeks.
So we do.
Right. And thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great 2 weeks.